Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome to another fun-filled episode of the CryptoManiacs podcast. I'm John Go, that's Task. We're here for the party. We like long walks on the beach, Yanni CDs. Oh, that's the wrong show. Sorry, thought we were doing lowered expectations. Anyways, how you doing, Task? You excited?
I thought you were setting up your dating profile.
That's what I was doing. Long walks on the beach, Yanni CDs. I mean, who wouldn't want to, Anyways,
I understand. I mean, it's
dude, it's been a pretty crazy. Like, we have a few questions. Obviously, it's Friday, so it's our Q&A session with the amazing Maniac audience. But there's been quite a bit going on over the past 24 hours, man. The bird is freed. Did you see the news?
yeah. It's explain something to me. I missed it. I didn't get it.
Right.
I mean, I know he has we'll just say a weird sense of humor. But what was with the sink walking into Twitter headquarters with the sink? What was the point of that? Did he ever explain?
Was he cleaning out the sink, like cleaning everything out, or like
I don't know, or he wants to throw everything at it, including the sink? I don't know. I think
that's what I took from it.
I don't know. I was flipping through some stuff last night to grab and post on Leo threads, and I just saw a headline: Elon Musk in Twitter headquarters, CFO and CEO gone. So. Yeah. That didn't take long, and it's very interesting. My view on this is Elon has some very good ideas for Twitter.
Right.
My view is we can do the same thing. We can create the Everything app on Hive using the base layer, and then have a whole bunch of different apps feeding into it. Just like we do with long form blogging, you can use Peak D, you can use Hiveblog, you can use Leo Finance, CTP, STEM Geeks, you can pay PowNet or whatever it was. There's just a lot of different things. Okay, some are very focused in their engagement, but you can access the blockchain, you can do your posting. And this is why I said, I mean, we now have micro blogging on Hive. These front ends should be tapping into this. I mean, Leo Finance came up with it, but it's really just using the Hive comment system. So anybody can tap in. And what happens if we have 15 different front ends, all that have the capability of microblogging? Then you also have the ability for Medium style, Patreon style, if you will, content, long form content creation. We already have our payment system in place. We had a marketplace or a few marketplaces. We have our wallet system in place. I mean, we have our internal exchange in place. Okay, it's 2 tokens, but, that allows you to swap back and forth between the two. And then, of course, we reach out and integrate with, Honeycomb and what Deluxe is building, Hive Engine, Leo Finance on BSC and Polygon. So, I mean, there's just a lot there. So I think that's the model to follow and say, okay, Elon, you want to do your thing? We're going to do our thing. Let's race. Because I really think that anything he can do, we can do on Hive. There was a tweet that he responded to, I guess, about short form videos or about videos where somebody was saying, on Twitter here, I link a video, but it like plays in YouTube. It gives all the advertising. It's a YouTube video. Why can't we do this here? And it's like, well, we got 3Speak, so we already can do it. And certain apps already allow for 3Speak integration. I mean, this is just. I mean, we have the infrastructure going into place. We need to utilize it, and Elon's got to build all of this out himself. I mean, granted, he has the capabilities and the money and the people to do it, but
yeah, it's fun. Just reading the reactions of it all, and and then Jack tweets out about building on Web 5, and the Hive people had a blast with that. Like they're responding like, well, he's using Web 2 to promote Web 5, and then someone else said, well, he should build this on Web 4 to get to Web 5. Like just it's so funny.
I think if I can jump in, I think
Yep.
Jack was looking at it himself when he was using the urinal, and his inferiority complex is coming out. I think he should have some balls and go for Web 10 personally. I mean, why stop short? What's this Web 5 bullshit?
I know. Go to 10.
Go for Bo Derek. I mean, if you're going all the way, and for those who don't understand,
Bo Derek 10. Wow.
Film 10.
Wow.
Okay, I'm showing my age.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Bo Derek is showing age.
We don't judge. But yeah, it's funny just reading all these guys talking about this, and just like you said, like Hive's got it all ready to go, like ready to rock. Something else just before we get into everyone's questions. The new Noise is back. Noise app, which was the Noise Cache. So they apparently relaunched this thing like a month ago. I've got to say, what they do right is something I wish everyone on Hive, all of the developers, really understood. And yeah, it's a lot easier when it's a centralized thing, but my goodness, it's so clean. The use of this that is just amazing. Like using it, I found a really cool way how to tap into the tipping that's there and transferring it into Hive and like that. But this was what I was ranting about last week, with usability of stuff. Like that's one thing Noise gets that I wish more people, specifically in Hive, got. Ease of use is so important. It has to be clean. It has to be simple. It has to be straightforward. Too many things, when you give people too many choices, the choice they make will be to leave it. They won't mess with it. So whoever's listening to this podcast, the replay of it, we appreciate you. But if you're a developer on Hive, something to keep in mind. Keeping things simple is a very good marketing strategy, in my opinion.
Yeah, it is. It's just a lot of times, from what I can see, the difficulty is you have to, if you want to do anything on blockchain, you have to integrate into Hive. The only thing Bcash or a Noise Cache is not integrating into Bcash, or they're just using Bcash, the token, and transfer.
Yeah, it's just a tipping thing. That's it. There's no blockchain at all.
So everything you post is on centralized servers, which is fine. I mean, it's, at the end of the day, that's what Twitter is. That's what everybody's used to. But, I think, we could create an app that's on centralized servers, doesn't post to the blockchain. Great. And probably, but then you'd have no upvoting, no proof of brain capability, none of that. So that's where I think the challenge comes in. And then you're always dealing with the API and the node system and all that stuff. So, but I agree with you. Ease of use is one of the most important focuses if you want a technical application to be successful. Because if the average person has to spend more than 3 seconds trying to figure it out, they're not going to do it. And I don't care whether it's a web browser, whether it's an application, whatever it is, it has to be easy.
Yep.
Or people are going to turn away.
Yep. Hello, Lisa. Welcome. You good to go? You want to dive into people's questions here?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Cool. And being active cures everything. That was the theme that I went with, because I'm always trying to be themey. I don't know if that's a word. Anyways, each and every week you go to CTP Chat, the account on Hive, and you can ask your questions, and we will respond to them and upvote you and give you all the praise. So thank you guys for the questions. There's only a few this week, and that's partially my fault, because as you can see there, 16 hours ago is when I put this post up, because I suck, and my time management skills need to be worked on. So that's my excuse, and I'm sticking with it. First question. Tokenized Society. Hello, Maniacs. Do you think smart contracts should be added to Hive Layer 1 or kept on second layer? What are the pros and cons of each? Very good question.
Layer 2. You
And
want
what
to
would
keep
be the
your
pros and
base
cons
layer.
of that?
You want your base layer as tight as possible. The problem with putting smart contracts on layer 1 is every node has to run every smart contract then.
Right.
So you instantaneously run into scalability issues. That's number 1. Number 2, your smart contracts are at the base layer. That means any smart contract vulnerability is a base layer vulnerability, which is not a good thing. You want your vulnerabilities at the second layer, because then if the contract vulnerability or security is compromised, it doesn't affect the base layer. So that's the reason why you want to stay away from it. The EVMs have trouble scaling because of that. I mean, every node has to run all those smart contracts. They have no choice. Well, Hive node operators, and we recently just had an upgrade that cut the size of the Hive blockchain in terms of the data in half, from like 700 gigabytes to 350 gigabytes. And when Brian of London was on, he mentioned how he really was able to recognize that on his node. So it gets to the point where scalability is something we talk about, and there's a reason why Hive is light years ahead of everybody else in scaling. And I think one of them, not the only reason, but one of them, I mean, Block Trades focuses a lot of attention on this, but one of the reasons is because we don't have that smart contract at the base layer. That said, we certainly need a layer 2 robust smart contract platform that all devs can tap into and they can add to. And I mean, we need that yesterday, but it's got to be built out. So hopefully 2023, the goal is somebody will be putting together a smart contract, or somebody's will be putting together a smart contract platform for Hive.
I think it's a security thing more than anything too. Like, I mean, yeah, there's the technical aspects of it and getting it all, but like security, like you said, if it's on layer 2, the whole blockchain doesn't go kaput if there's, like if something doesn't go right or something fails. Like you said, you want your layer 1 to be as tight as possible, and then allow for the entrepreneurs and the developers to really go crazy on layer 2. I think would you agree with that? It's also a security thing, like just to have it.
Well, that's what I said. I mean, if you have a vulnerability in your smart contract, that vulnerability could extend to the entire coding of the base layer. So just like Ethereum and Ethereum Classic split, I mean, how would somebody like a smart contract on the base layer of Hive, and there's a vulnerability in it, and all of a sudden they're able to clean out all Liquid, Hive, and HBD.
Right. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, so now everybody's faced with, okay, do we go back to that block and fork the blockchain? And that's what Ethereum did. Or is it, do you just say, okay, we are going to adhere to crypto principles, and it's like what happens, and we go forward? Well, Hive doesn't have to worry about that, because any vulnerabilities that come from smart contract tied to Hive, that affects Honeycomb, that affects Hive Engine, that doesn't affect Hive itself, the base layer.
Right.
So yes, you got scaling and security.
Yeah. Yeah. It's that's the thing that comes up all the time, where people are like, well, you need smart contracts. It's like, yeah, but it doesn't have to be on layer 1. I mean, so
no,
sorry,
it's layer 1 is meant to be a transaction layer. On Hive, it adds the additional service or the additional utility of storing, non-transactional data.
Right.
But outside of that, you want to keep your operations as tight as possible, in my opinion.
There you go. Well, thank you for the question, Tokenized. I'm not sure we haven't had pricing questions in a while, but this one, please hold. We have the air compressor. Can you hear that going on? No, you don't
No,
hear it. You don't
no,
hear it. Okay.
no.
Well, if you don't hear it, then it's okay. Yakingo wants to know: showing up every day is essential. Yes, it is. What do you expect from the crypto markets between now and the end of the year?
They will go up, down, and sideways, and people will bitch no matter what happens. Prove me wrong.
Are you sure about that? Now, is there anything else you would like to dive into there when it comes to the crypto markets?
Some tokens will go up, some will go down, some will go sideways, and either way, people bitch about it all. Did I elaborate better?
Perfect. Because the next question from DevPress wants to know is what's your view on the crypto market by the start or mid 2023? Any new possibilities here? I just put a little disclaimer out. We get this question a lot, and I'll just let you guys know. Both Task and myself pay about as much attention to the markets as we do Beanie Babies. I don't look at the markets ever. I could care less about the markets because like Tass said, this is crypto, man. It's completely baloney, because if everyone cared about use case, Hive would be a top 5 token. Okay, it's not about use case. The market is about green candles. That's all anyone cares about. They don't care about use case. They don't care about development. They don't care about community. All they want is to see the pretty green candles. They want to see Christmas. That's all they want to see, the green candles. That's it. They don't care. So I don't concern myself about this. Is what's so beautiful, again, beating a dead horse. What's so amazing about Hive? I'm going to use Hive tomorrow. I'm going to use it the next day. I'm going to use it in a week from now. God willing, I'm going to use it in 5 years from now. The price of it is irrelevant because I'm using it each and every day. If the price goes up, the price goes down, the price goes sideways, that's going to happen. Doesn't matter to me. So for new possibilities, I mean, again, the two things I'm the most bullish on, well, three things. Hive as a whole, CTP and the stuff that we're building, and then obviously Splinterlands. All of this stuff, price is irrelevant because I can use this stuff each and every day. Tass wants to say something. Come on, man. Let's get you fired up. Come on.
No, I mean, I don't disagree with you about price. I'm just wondering, Splinterlands, 72 hours ago, you were putting out offers to buy your Splinterlands stake.
Dude,
dare I ask, what the hell happened?
Man, dude, listen. I raged. Thankfully I have Apple products, and the keyboards for Apple are really nice plastic and metal, so they don't break easily. But I was smashing keyboards in disgust because I had to use Ethereum. I got some assistance from the support at Splinterlands. I went through everything they said step by step. Still didn't help. So eventually I said, you know what? Let me reverse engineer my problem here. So I went and I started Googling, and it took me about 2 hours of digging. Well, no, the whole process took over 24 hours to finally get it going. But after I smashed a few keyboards, I reverse engineered my problem, went to Google, found out what I had to do. And once I did it, everything worked flawlessly. Like OpenSea, once you're in OpenSea, works fine, works great. But the process of linking the accounts when you have multiple MetaMasks and then linking the account and getting the seed phrases and then making sure it's the right, because it's not like Taskmaster 4450. Your code is 0x12345. Like, it's so confusing. You got to make sure that the wallet address is the right one that you're linking, and then MetaMask will pop up and say, "Is this the one you want to confirm?" You're like, "No, I want the other one." But of course, they don't give you the option to choose the other one, so it was just a complete disaster. But I finally figured it out. I got through, and I got my Rooney, and I was walked off the ledge by my amazing technical abilities to figure things out. I love Hive, man. Hive is so simple. Send Hive. What account do you want to send it to? The name of that person. Easy. Simple. We're spoiled here, man.
But on Hive, you don't get a Rooney, and you got in a Rooney on Ethereum.
I got my Rooney on Ethereum.
How much a Rooney going for? Did you sell it yet?
I bought mine for 0.19 ETH, which is like, it was around 250. $250, and I got offered like $450 for it, like as soon as I minted it. I
Really?
didn't sell it. Yeah, I didn't sell it. The floor price is a little bit higher than what we minted them for, but who knows? I mean, and the funny thing is like out of all that trouble, I got pretty much the most basic Rooney you could get, like the common of all common Roonies. Like, there's nothing I have that's like under 1% rarity. Like, it's just it's as basic as like basic. I'm okay with it. I'm okay. I'm glad I figured it out. I got the stupid thing minted. Now I'm happy. I just want to play with it. I want to get it in the game and try it out. But dude, what a we are so lucky on Hive how easy it is. And it's still not, like I said at the start of the show about ease of use, it's still not where it should be, but compared to other projects in the crypto space, light years ahead for actual use case. It's insanity. That's my speech. So, anything just to go back to DevPress's question? Any new possibilities in 2023? Do you see on the horizon in the markets here?
Between up, down, and sideways? No, I think
Up,
that's
down, side, or like or different types. Like it was metaverse was the big word last year, and GameFi and play to earn, and like anything you think.
they'll throw out all these monikers and they mean nothing. I mean, watch the technology, watch the ebb and flow. Whatever they throw out in hype, bet the ranch it'll crash. Just like DeFi, just like NFTs, just like DAOs, just like GameFi. I mean, all this stuff they throw out these terms, and it's not that there's not validity to it. I mean, I am one of the biggest proponents and believers in the ultimate success of DeFi. I mean, I'm
Right.
designing frameworks for it, but let's make no mistake, DeFi is not ready for prime time. Doesn't mean that there's not a lot of money involved. Doesn't mean there's not a lot of money to be made, but it's still a long way away. So, I believe there's a great future for NFTs and DAOs too. I mean, we started the bullshit with NFTs and we're seeing the bullshit with DAOs now. But that doesn't mean that there's not a tremendous future and utility for each of them. And I believe NFTs are going to be even bigger than non-fungible, than the fungible tokens. The NFT market, and I don't want to say market in the sense of the pricing market, the market cap. I'm just talking in terms of the user market, if you will. I think the NFT world is going to be a hell of a lot bigger than the fungible world, simply because NFTs denote ownership. They're programmable ownership. You can code a lot of things in. And I think that has tremendous utility when you start to look at digital record keeping, intellectual property, ownership, all of that. And so I think that's really going to be enormous, but we're nowhere close to that.
It was funny when I was doing all the Rooney stuff this week, and you're looking at all the top project, and Rooney got up to number 2 on OpenSea for volume, which was pretty cool to see. 99% of the projects on OpenSea have zero use case, and along comes Splinterlands with an NFT that actually you can use. And it was fascinating to me. So what you said about NFTs is true. I think you're going to see the NFT stuff. It's going to have use case. It can't just be a picture of a stupid ape. It can't anymore. It has to be something attached to it to really bring the value up for everyday people, I think. But maybe the artsy fartsy people will win, and we're just going to look at JPEGs for the rest of our life. Who knows? Yeah. Anyways, this is a great question here. Bring it up. It's in chat. From My Path to Fire. Here, let's see. We just covered up our beautiful faces and shiny foreheads. How secure is MetaMask? I hear many people getting hacked from phishing. It's as secure as you make it, pretty much. Yeah.
I mean, if you give access to a fisherman, you're the fish. I mean, it's just that simple. It's MetaMask. It's no different than phishing on Hive. You have to be very careful when you go into Keychain or in Hive Signer and who you give permission to. And a lot of times you're okay with keychain and such because you're only giving your posting key. So,
Right.
the worst that's going to happen is they post stupid shit in your account. But you have to be very careful. And, this is where taking responsibility for your account is of the utmost priority. I mean, we had Belimo on Tuesday. He got whacked for 10K,
10K.
which
Yeah.
10K for in Nigeria. I mean, 10K anywhere is a lot of money, but in Nigeria, and
Right.
he, is very open. He takes responsibility. He accessed a site on his phone, and he gave him permission. He believes, in his MetaMask wallet, which he shouldn't, and they just fished him.
Yep.
So you gotta always be careful who you give your access to, who it is, and who do you trust. And this also ties into what John and I talk about with Hive. This also ties into what Dan and Starkers talk about, is knowing people, the reputation of people, knowing what's going on. I mean, I have no problem of clicking OK in my keychain to a site that's related to Cal, or a site that was set up by blockchain. I
Right.
don't have any problem doing that. I know who these people are. I know the work they've done. They're not running a phishing scam. I know exactly what's going on. And so if you stay close to Hive and you stick around Hive, you very quickly understand who the movers and shakers are, who the dedicated people are, who are the ones. And we have a lot of them on here. I mean, people like Archange. Archange isn't out to steal from anybody. Archange will do
Right.
anything to help you out if he can. Um, Brian of London isn't out to scam anybody. He's not out to take people's money. Cal, Marky will do anything he can to help people. There's just a lot of people around like that. And if you stick around, you know who those people are and who to trust. And if you don't know that particular individual, or you don't know of them, maybe that's a better way of saying, you usually know somebody like me or John or Dan or Cal or Starkers or whoever you can go to and say, hey, who's this Blaine dude?
Right. Yeah.
Don't ask John that, because he'll tell you he's a
No.
jackass. Don't trust him.
Yeah.
Um,
Don't listen to
but
Blaine.
if you ask me, this Blaine Jones dude, it's like, yeah, he's dedicated to Hive. He's a developer. He's involved in CTP. They have a lot of great ideas, great plans. Yes, you can trust Blaine. No, I've never met the guy. I've never talked to the guy directly other than on our show. But I would guarantee you, if you send Blaine 100 HBD on accident and you say, hey, man, could you send it back? Blaine probably would turn around, send it back. And,
Oh,
even
for
if he
sure.
didn't know you, and say, okay, man, but be careful when you're sending stuff out.
Yeah.
That's the type of people you want. And, MetaMask, Hive Signer, Keychain, comment sections. You have to be very careful about the stuff you click on and who you give approval to.
Yep. Yep. For sure. Good question, my path to fire. That was impromptu, because he's got another one coming up here. But let's dive into Lisa. She's in the audience too. She wants to know, when Splinterlands does the airdrop for the GLX tokens, they appear in my Splinterlands account just like SPS and Voucher. So we'll definitely, I'll definitely talk to Task about this, because Task is the expert, right? Task, you got your GLX airdrop going or no?
I don't know what the fuck I
No,
got
it
going.
doesn't even know what
Somebody, I will tell you this. I did see what I got in my two accounts, because somebody in Threads, Leo Threads, you want to learn Leo Threads. By the way, we're trying to 10x the volume on there. Everybody go over to Leo Threads, leofinance.io/threads, and start participating. But somebody dropped a link in Leo Threads to, I don't know. I guess it's some bot or something that somebody created, and so you simply click on it and put that in your URL, and then take out username and put in your username, and you see what GLX you got. And
Yep.
I saw that I got like 4 in one count, 2 in the other. I didn't notice it in Splinterlands where it is. I did didn't know. Do you have to claim it?
Nope.
Like you have to claim?
It won't be in your Splinterlands. So
Okay.
it's in. I just put the link up there, so we'll just put it up there. You can just go to genesisleaguesports.com and it'll redirect, but it's goals.genesisleaguesports.com. And you go there, you got to sign up for an account. And then once you sign up for an account, you link, just like you did in Listeners, you link your Hive keychain extension, the wallet, to the account, and it will tell you how many GLX tokens you're getting. The little tool that was in, Leo Threads is perfect because that shows you what you're getting every day. This just gives you a number. There's no breakdown of it. It's just a number. Top right, it'll tell you how many you got.
Now,
sorry, go ahead.
Just going right on, piggybacking what we talked about. This is a Splinterlands website, right? This was put out by the Splinterlands people. So it's not an outside website. No. It's Splinterlands people. It's whoever's within the Splinterlands community. So you can most likely trust it as much as you can trust Splinterlands.
Right. It's from Splinterlands. And you can see at the bottom of it, it says, Splinterlands down at the bottom and everything. So yeah, it's the new project from Splinterlands, and the amount of SPS you get is what you're going to be getting airdropped with the GLX. So it's a good idea to keep building your SPS, because you're going to be getting GLX over the next year, just like they were doing with SPS. So it's just passive. You don't need to think about it. Just keep stacking your SPS, and you're going to be getting GLX tokens every day for the next year. Easy peasy. There you go. Hope that helps. This is a really cool question. My Path of Fire wanted to ask that, and I thought this was great. How do you best to fit working on Hive with a full-time job? Now, I got to ask him, does it mean how do you turn it into a full-time job, or how do you manage your life and then still work on Hive? I mean, if it's the second part of that, Jimmy Adames is the guy to watch and to listen to, because that guy is busier than a bee. Pardon the pun. And it's juggle one working. Yeah. So like a few things. One, and I, if you're in obviously my Path to Fire and Lisa are both in the CTP Discord, and this is a conversation that comes up in the CTP Discord all the time. You're going to need one of these, man. If you want to keep up to date with everything, you're going to need to have a mobile phone. And it's mind-blowing to me that I even have to have this conversation in 2022. It doesn't mean you need to be glued to it, but you can manage your Hive account on your phone. Ecency, Hive Keychain, even your Splinterlands account. All of that can be managed on your phone. You can log into Like2 on your browser and do some pictures if you want to do some posts there. You can post on Ecency. You can write an entire post on your phone if you want and post it through Ecency. So one of the tools I would highly recommend to juggle your full-time job with a Hive career is you're going to need mobile. You're going to need mobile access. That's just the first thing I would say. Other than that, this is the truth of it is that we all have 1,440 minutes a day. That's it. Some of us have less because for whatever reason, that's all we have. We have to allocate those minutes. And if you're going to allocate your minutes to whatever you're doing, that's not building Hive or building crypto, building your business, whatever, that's where you've chosen priority for those allocation of minutes. You're not going to get any more extra minutes. So you have to give what you're given and then use them for the tasks that you think will best prepare you for future success and set you up for future success. So instead of watching the reruns of Seinfeld on Netflix, as fun as George Costanza must be, I don't know. I've literally never watched a full episode of Seinfeld, so I don't even know. But that's apparently he's like a funny guy. If you're going to allocate your time to Seinfeld reruns in 5 years from now, how further ahead are you?
Exactly. So you want to be successful. Okay. First thing I would recommend is get a job that allows you to do Hive while you're being paid at your job. I mean, that's, the first thing. Outside of that, John's right. Focus all your attention on Hive. Don't watch the football game. That's a waste of time. Don't watch reruns of Seinfeld. That's a waste of time. Don't watch the Star Trek film series. That's a waste of time. Work Hive part-time, not spare time, part-time. There's no saying nobody has spare time. Those who work businesses work them part-time, grow them till they can become full-time. It doesn't take a genius. Activity is key. Posting is key. Commenting is key. Do your 1 or 2 posts a day or whatever you do. Do your video, do your interaction, do your engagement, whatever it is. Do your listeners. I mean, Cal just hit up 3 of my listener, not my listener, excuse me, 3 of my Leo threads. He just hit up 3 of my Leo threads with a like 4.48 Leo upvote. Now I get 2.24. That's like 7 Leo. The combined of this was like, I don't know, 75 words between all 3. And I make 7 Leo. Listeners, it takes time to go through listeners, but dedicate to it. Whatever your front end, CTP, whatever tokens you're trying to stack. And John, for years, you've been putting up every Sunday your Hive goals. You have specific areas that you are very, very intent on focusing on, a handful of tokens, Hive, Leo, CTP, SPT, and I forget what else you have on there, but there's 4 or 5 different tokens you focus your attention on. And like you were just saying, SPS, everything outside of that, as we've discussed before, sell for what you want. Sell your SPT for SPS if you don't want SPT. Sell your POB or your STEM or whatever it is for SPS if that's your thing, and keep building. And sure, if you have the opportunity, you have some HBD, you have some Hive liquid, and the South Koreans pump it, maybe do a little trading and make yourself 50 or 100 Hive or 50 or 100 HBD. That's great. Just understand it's all a compounding process. And not only is it compounding in terms of the money and your activity, it's compounding in terms of your reputation. Right. Because we keep mentioning Jimmy. Jimmy was not on my radar a year ago or a year and a half ago. He is now. Why? Because the fucking guy's all over the place.
Right.
And that's what it takes. That's how you get on the radar. Dan talked about this yesterday on a telecast he was on. And he was talking about the proposals and how everybody says, well, listen, the proposals are only for the in crowd, and they all circle jerk, vote each other up, and that's what gets it. And Dan says, submit a proposal. And if you don't get it approved, take the feedback and resubmit it. Take the feedback again and resubmit it. He goes, hell, by the 3rd time you submit it, he goes, I'll probably vote it just because you submitted it 3 damn times.
Right. Yeah.
That is what and see, the point being, if Dan sees your name 3 damn times and he remembers it, then you're on his radar.
Right.
You have to get on people's radar. You have to do things. John, you were in marketing. You've been in sales. You understand this stuff. Out of sight, out of mind. I mean, they say in sales, and I don't know if this is even true anymore, because this statistic came before the digital world and before we were overrun with all this information. But they used to say in sales training, it takes 7 contacts with a prospect before they even remember your company's damn name. Not before they'll buy, but before they even remember your name. So you have to call them. You had to mail letters. You had to drop off information. You had to stop by. You had to do all this stuff to get there. I imagine that number's higher in the digital world because we just get bombarded with so much stuff, and there's really not the connection. You don't have the voice to connect with. It's like you see a username and you see an image, a little picture. And so unless it's something that really stands out, you have to see it 8, 10, 15, 20, 30 times to remember. And then the person has to stay there. How many people, John, did we know and interact with on a daily basis that you and I can't even think of their names right now?
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, well, they've been gone for 2 years. They left shortly after the fourth. They left, a year and a half ago or a year ago. And it's like, if they show back up, it'll be like, hey, John, did you see who's back? Oh, yeah, I remember her or I remember him. But,
Yeah.
right now, they're off the radar. And it's the same thing for us. If we disappeared, how long till you people forgot about us? You might say once in a while, hey, whatever happened to that John G. Olson?
Right. Yeah.
That's about it.
It was there was something like you said, that was like this old sales thing about the 7 exposures. I remember reading something. This was probably about 10 years ago. Um, and again, this is just something I read. It's not gospel by any means, but it was like you're bombarded with about 10,000 marketing messages a day. And Task was here. No, I think he's still here. Are you here, Task?
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't know.
I just had to move the fan, and I want to be professional.
Oh, very professional, sir. Yes. You're bombarded with 10,000 marketing messages a day. That's not even if you're in the marketing space or the crypto space or the social media space, like 10,000 marketing messages a day. And if you think that you can show up once a week and make a nice post, dear sir, when moon comment once a week, you think you're going to stick out, you're smoking something. And it's really, really good, apparently. You have to be Grant Cardone, social influencer, bigwig guy. He talks about omnipresent marketing. You have to be everywhere you can, as much as you can, as often as you can, for as long as you can. You can do that in crypto space. You can do that in social media. You can do that here. You can do that through commenting, through engaging on Leo threads. You can do it through all of these tools, Noise app, whatever. It doesn't matter. You can do that now, but most people won't. So it's like, and then they complain that the whales get all the approvals for all the proposals on the DHF. Well, why? Because they've been out there and they're in front of people and they're talking to people all the time.
Well, and I'll tell you how it works. And this is very interesting because Three Speak just got into the top 20. I mean, they call me Dan, and Starkers are as hive as you can get. They've been here. They both were here long before I got here.
Just got into the top 20. Yeah. And
just got into the top 20. And the only reason they did that is because somebody closed down their server who was in the top 20 and moved out and just told everybody, take your votes away and let me get out of here. Right. So they just got into the top 20. Now, why doesn't the top 20 change very often? You might see some changing among 20 and 19, but for the most part, it doesn't change. It's the trust factor. You may not like these people, but Archange, Howu, Block Trades, Markey, Yaba, all these people, and we can go on, Gandorf, all these people who are in the top 20 are trusted because they are trusted to keep the blockchain running. And they are not going to do things to destroy the blockchain. Right. They are going to keep their nodes up. They are going to keep their nodes up to date. They are going to do what they have to do to keep their nodes on air and going and producing blocks and validating transactions. That's a heavy responsibility. And they're trusted with that. That's what it takes. And that's how it works. And the only thing you can do is at each layer trying to do it, like John said, be anywhere, be everywhere, be consistent, and it has to be a part of your life. Yep. So if you are going to, you go to CTP chat, immerse yourself. Go to Leo Finance, immerse yourself. Go wherever you want to go. Go into Splinterlands, immerse yourself. Splinter Talk, immerse yourself. Whatever it is that you are going to do, immerse yourself and use the tools. Use Leo Threads. Why do I keep harping on Leo Threads? Very simple. Everybody who posts anything on Hive should take their post and drop it in Leo Threads. Why wouldn't you? It costs you nothing. And there's people I've seen in Leo Threads who I would never have seen their content. All of a sudden it's in Leo threads, and I click on it, whether it's a Leo finance post or a Pete D post or a high blog post, whatever, it opens up just like the same thing with listeners, whatever the front end that the post is from, it shows up. I've given up votes. And it's like, hey, I found this because you dropped it in Leo threads. Good job. Interesting post. I gave it up vote. It's a very simple tool for marketing. Why don't you utilize it? People send their stuff out on Twitter. They were sending their stuff out on Twitter even before, Asidio's, project.
Posh,
but
right?
The Posh system, and that's a great thing. But you know what? Drop it in Leo threads. Use listeners. If you can only send out once a week, fine. Once a week, send out your damn post to listeners. It takes 10 minutes, maybe, if that long. 5 minutes to write a short little thing and a link to your post, and make sure, just proof it before you send it out to make sure the link works.
Yep.
Why don't you use this? It costs you nothing. That's the point. That's how you get in front of people. That's how you get there. I mean, these people who show up in the chat every day, they're loyal supporters of the show. I know the name I Pat the Fire. People leave the questions. You read their username every time. Deb Press, Tokenized Society, Lisa. It's always the same people. But guess what? They're on our radar.
Speaking of on the radar, Battle Beast in chat just wanted to know, did you guys get your Rooney? And we talked about Rooney earlier, but I got to show it off. I think our heads are the same, Battle Beast. I think we have the same head on our Rooney. That's mine right there, number 971.
I don't have my phone with me, so I can't show you my Rooney.
Yep, that's my Rooney right there. So I got number 971. He is mine. There are many others like him, but this one is mine. So, yes, got my Rooney. Can't wait to use him for the game. So, and finally, we got Jimmy. He said, now that Elon Musk's Twitter, will Hive folk tweet more or less? Of course, we'll be threading more in terms of Hivers on Twitter. What are your predictions? What am I going to do? I'm not going to change much of what I do with Twitter. I'm going to keep using Twitter as much as I've always used it. I didn't stop using it or started using it. It's interesting. I'm seeing people say like, "Oh, you were shadow banned, and now I'm seeing you now." That's cool. So it'll be interesting to not get shadow banned anymore. But who knows? Who knows? I still think Twitter is a fantastic platform to talk about Hive, to talk about crypto, to talk about Rooney, to talk about Splinterlands, to talk about CTP, to talk about all the things that we're building here. So I'll continue to use Twitter. I'm going to do Battle Beast once in a while. I'm going to do merch with the. I haven't even thought that far ahead. I just want to use the thing in the game. So that's the big thing. I just want to play with the Rooney. That's the big thing now. But what about you, Tass? What do you think about the?
Well,
the
my view
Twitter
is this:
sphere?
it goes back to where you said 1,440 minutes, and where you spend your time, and what do you get now? What's resulting? And a case could be made, certainly, that the shadow ban did affect the ability to draw people in to Hive. And so we'll have to see what the results are. But let's be perfectly honest. The Hive army, the Twitter Hive army, has been an abysmal failure. Why? Look at our onboarding rates. Now, I don't mean that the people themselves failed. And again, this may be because of the shadow ban. So our reach was just basically we were in an echo chamber. And that wouldn't surprise me. So if that's lifted, yes, time on Hive can be productive. My view is I don't want Elon's Twitter to be the future any more than I wanted Dorsey's Twitter to be the future. Right. So if I'm going to send out, and I say this all the time, I see this all the time. There's people on Hive who are on Twitter who I see they sit on Twitter, they sit in Discord, and they do that shit all day long. Thousands upon thousands upon thousands of tweets and comments and whatever per week. And you know what they put in threads? 0. You know how many comments they leave on Hive? Very few. Maybe they'll comment on the comments made on their post, but that's it. And again, it's like everybody wants to. It goes back to what you talk about, John, with these crypto influencers. They're all talking crypto platforms and Web3 on YouTube, and most of them are just talking about price anyway. But they're all on YouTube. They're all on Twitter, and it's like we have the same problem with Hive. It's like, well, what the fuck you sitting on Discord? What the fuck you sitting on Twitter for? Get the hell in, use Leo Finance. Okay, maybe it's not as great as Twitter. That's part of being an early adopter. Deal with it. Why aren't you dropping 10, 20 comments on Leo Threads? Why aren't you using listeners? You know, people send out emails all day. I mean, they send out less and less these days than they used to in the past because other applications have stepped up. But it's like, why aren't you using this stuff? Why aren't you using the stuff that's right here? And it's like, if you're going to sit in Discord all day and leave 50 comments in CTP, Leo Finance, 3Speak, whatever, and I'm not talking you're a moderator, you go in there, you answer questions, stuff like that. Obviously, that's great for help session. And even if you're not a moderator, if you're in there trying to help people who have questions about, well, what's this group about, or what is CTP, fine. But I'm talking, you know, you go into most of these general chats and it's just bullshit chit chat. Yeah. And it's like, what the hell are you people doing? And it's like, how do you think microblogging on Hive will get bigger? By people talking about Hive on Twitter? Or if you took a vast portion of that and brought it over and had them microblogging on Hive. And all of a sudden we had 50, 100,000 threads going a day. I mean, it's like going and using Medium to talk about, well, you should do your long form posting on Hive. It's like, who in their right mind would do that? It's like, okay, maybe you put up one article because, okay, you got a very successful Medium. But why would you do that? You would. You'd say, would you post on Hive and then, or on Medium and then talk about all the wonderful virtues of Hive and post in long form content on Hive? No, that's asinine. But don't we do the same thing with Twitter? Hell, don't we do the same thing, we being the crypto community, with YouTube? Don't we see people on Hive who have nothing but YouTube channels that they'll link in and it'll be a blog post on Hive? And it's like, well, why aren't you jackasses using 3Speak? Oh, it's not as good. I understand it's not as good. Again, early adopter. YouTube wasn't as good as YouTube is now 15, 18 years ago when they started. Facebook wasn't like it is now. They've had 15 or 18 years of development. Yeah. And, you know, that's just the difference. If we aren't going to use the tools available to us in spite of some of the challenges. And yes, there's problems with some of the front ends. There's problems. And see, here's the other problem, John. When a new application comes out, and you know what I'm referring to. What are people going to do then? Are they going to jump on it? Maybe initially just because it's new, but then they fade away. Oh, yeah, well. All the time. Yeah. You know, and it's constant. Like, why aren't you consistent in using this stuff? Okay, maybe an application, maybe like Leica 2. I've never used Leica 2. I have no interest in Leica 2. I don't want to use Leica 2. And it's nothing against Leica 2. I mean, from what I understand, that's an Instagram clone. That's great. I don't use Instagram either. So it's not like you have to use every application. But if you are an Instagram person, you better be using Leica 2. Yeah. Because if you're sending shit on Instagram supporting Zuckerberg, why the hell aren't you supporting Hive? And Leica 2 is Hive. You know, and this is the point. So when you find an application, and Jimmy is a great example. He's all over the place using many of these different apps. He doesn't use everyone, but he uses many of them. And he has a procedure each day he goes through, and he makes sure he hits up the different areas that are important to him. But he's involved and immersed in Hive. You know, Yeah, you can throw a tweet out on Twitter. Yes, I share Hive content on Twitter and part of the Posh Project. Sure, once in a while I'll get in there and throw out some comments and stuff like that. I'll throw out some upvotes, and maybe I'll do a little more if the shadow ban on Hive is lifted. But still, it's like it's our job to make Hive better. Make Hive. I mean, we've talked about this, Sean, for a year with comments.
Mm.
Why? If people show up and there's no activity, they're going to leave. So who the hell's going to show up to make sure there's activity there? It has to fall to us. That's it. There's nobody else.
Product of your product, man. That's the number one thing I've stressed for years in my business and in affiliate marketing and in online marketing is that how can you go and pitch something to someone if you're not even using it yourself in your own day-to-day business or life? Same thing goes here with Hive. If you're going to talk about Web3 and you're going to talk about metaverse, you're going to talk about decentralization, you're going to talk about all this stuff, and you're not using it, you're fake news, man. That's why influencers, when it comes to the crypto influencers, I take them with a grain of salt.
They are totally and completely full of shit. There's not a single one of them that I've seen. There's not a single one of them that I've seen that is in alignment with what they say. I don't want to say they're full of shit because a lot of what they say is good stuff. Okay, you're a wonderful analyst of the price of Ethereum. Wonderful. Okay, that's great. If that's your thing and you want to look at charts and follow somebody's charting of Ethereum, knock yourself out. But don't make Web3 is where it's at. You're not doing any Web3. You're doing Web2 to try to get money off a Web2 platform based on talking about Web3. That's all you're doing. So there is absolutely zero congruence there. And, these people who post on YouTube and then link it into Hive and make it a Hive post, they're not much better. I mean, they're maybe a little better. They're putting it on Hive. Yeah. But, you're still trying to pull people to YouTube. You're still trying to get minutes on your YouTube account. And I understand that's where people are making jack. But it's like, if you put the same effort into Hive, you'd be getting some upvotes on Hive.
Yep.
What? And the one thing you said earlier, John, not everybody's going to do it. You're talking about like the what all the things people could be doing.
Yeah.
You said not anybody can do this, but not most will not. There's another piece to this puzzle which you've mentioned in the past. At some point in time, we don't know when, it will be 10 times harder than it is today.
Yep.
A year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is, it will be a lot harder than it is today.
Yep. Guys, be a product of your product, man. Get out there. We truly do have a superior blockchain because I have used Ethereum this past week and I hated every second of it. Use the apps on Hive, man.
Next week, John will give an update on what he thinks about Polygon. And
can't wait.
He's going to use Polygon.
Guys, thank you once again for coming and tuning in with us, hanging out with us. Appreciate you guys. Next week, I think it's just it's Task and I on Tuesday, just ranting, I think. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, we are. I'm trying to line some people up, and they don't give definitive. So we got a number of guests up in the air. Some very, very interesting ones too.
Very nice.
That we haven't had on before, but have no firm confirmations as of yet. So next week it's John and I as it stands now. On Tuesday, Thursday, Friday is our usual question and answer. Then on the 8th, we have a return guest from Actifit. McFarhat is going.
Very nice.
So
there you go, guys. So have a great weekend. Be good to each other. Yay Web3. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys on Tuesday.